What is up? We have another deck profile, and this one is Whimsicott VSTAR, a new archetype that recently got some success. Let's go over my deck list. We are playing 4 copies of double turbo energy. This allows us to attack with Whimsicott VSTAR as the attack cost is a psychic and double colorless. We don't mind doing a bit less damage since we are denying our opponent tools and special energy, as well as some other cards that denies energy and abilities as well. Next up, we play 4 copies of basic psychic energy. Whimsicott VSTAR only attacks for 1 psychic, 2 double colorless. So basically 1 psychic energy, 1 double turbo, and we're ready to roll. Since we do play XP share, we can reuse psychic energies, and we do play 1 copy of ordinary rod, which allows us to get 2 psychic energies back. We can also search out basic psychic energy with fog crystal, so we can get away with playing a low count of basic psychic energy. We are then playing 1 copy of the card I just mentioned, ordinary rod. This allows us to get back basic psychic energies and any Pokemon we threw away with Quick Ball or Ultra Ball early in the game that we need later on. We are also playing 2 copies of Air Balloon. We will want to attach this mainly to our Barbarrels, sometimes our Crobats if we do play a Crobat during a game. This allows us to have free retreat. We are also playing 2 copies of Evolution Incense. This searches out Whimsicott VSTAR, also Barbarrel, and you don't have to discard anything. We are playing a lower count of Evolution Incense to other decks in the format right now. Next up, we have a very spicy card that you don't see too often in the meta, and that is EXP Share. Basically, we attach this to a bench Whimsicott. When our active Whimsicott gets knocked out, we're allowed to put 1 basic energy from the knocked out Whimsicott, which is a psychic energy, onto the benched Whimsicott with the EXP share attached to it. That means we just need to find double turbo and we're back to attacking, since we don't play any energy acceleration in the list. We are playing another card you don't see too often, and that is Fan of Waves. Put a special energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon at the bottom of their deck. Basically, we deny special energies, and then with Whimsicott VSTAR's attack, they can't attach them, so it's basically a dead card. We play 3 copies of Fan of Waves. Following up Fan of Waves, we have more energy denial, and we play 4 copies of Crushing Hammer. Flip a coin. If heads, discard an energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Very good card when you flip heads, very bad card when you flip tails, but most of the time it's a 50-50 based off statistics. Next, we are playing 4 copies of Fog Crystal. This searches out our Whimsicott V and basic psychic energy. That's why we can play a low count of basic psychic energy, since we can just search it out. We are then playing 4 copies of Quick Ball. Basically thins our hand so we can draw more cards with Barbarrel. Searches out Bidoof, Crobat, and the Whimsicott V. Very good card. We are playing 4 copies. We are then also playing 4 copies of Ultra Ball. Basically, we discard 2 cards from hand, search for any Pokemon, Crobat, Barbarrel, anything in the list. Also helps us thin our hand if we want to draw more off Crobat V or Barbarrel. Now for supporters, we are playing 2 copies of Avery, which has been creeping into the format lately. Very good card against lists that are very bench heavy, like Rapid Strike Malamar, Suicune V, and Mew VMAX. Next card we are playing is Boss's Orders. Very generic card. We are playing a low count in 2. Most lists play 3, but you usually don't want to boss up anything, since you're just trying to deny your opponent special energy and tools throughout the game, and that should be enough to win. Next, we are playing 3 copies of Marnie. A little bit of disruption in our game strategy, just because we want to Marnie, Path to the Peak, and hopefully snuff a Mew out of drawn cards, as well as denying them attaching any special energy. So they have to Alyssa, Sparkle, and then they have to draw, but if they can't Genesect to draw, they're basically just stuck passing. The last supporter we do play is Professor's Research. We are playing 3 copies as we don't really need 4 since we're ideally trying to draw with Barrel and maybe Boss's Orders or Avery or Marnie to disrupt our opponent's game plan. Now for stadiums, we play 3 copies of Path to the Peak. I would like to add a 4th, but I don't think I want to cut any of the cards in the list as I do think this is the most optimal list that I've played. Basically, we want to play this against Mew. Sometimes we want to play this against other stuff, but mainly it's for Mew. So we can Path to the Peak, Marnie, Crushing Hammer, Fan of Waves, and then deny them special energies so they have to Essel the Sparkle. The first Pokemon we play is 1 copy of Crobat V for the Dark Assist ability. Basically, you just want a Crobat V at the early games and then Path to the Peak after, just so you get the full effect. That's the only V with an ability that we play. So once Crobat V is on the bench, we can Path to the Peak and we won't have to worry about the Path to the Peak biting ourselves in the butt later on in the game state. Next up, we play 3 copies of Bidoof. Basically, we are just playing this so we can evolve into a Barrel later on. We do play 3 copies. In case one's prized, 1 we have to discard because we only do play 2 Barrels. Speaking of Barrels, we play 2 copies of Barrels. For the ability is very good. It's basically like Genesect on a stage 1 prize, but it's only for 5. Very good. It helps us draw cards and it's not Sobble, which is very good, especially with all these Jolteon techs. Next up is 4 copies of Whimsicott V. Basically, we're only ever going to attack with 3 Whimsicott VSTARs, but we do want to optimize our chances of starting this and finding it, even though we do play so many outs to finding this card. It's never really tough finding it, but we just want to always maximize our odds of starting it. And finally, the last cards we play is 3 copies of Whimsicott VSTAR for the Trick Wind ability, attack for 160 damage, which is usually 140 due to the effect on double turbo energy. During your opponent's next turn, they can't play any Pokemon, tools, or special energies from their hand. Very good in a format that mainly consists of special energies. The Fluff Ball Star V Power is also very good. This attack does 60 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each energy attached to this Pokemon. Don't apply weakness and resistance for bench Pokemon, and you can't use more than 1 V-Star power per game. Very good, because if we have a Psychic Energy double turbo, that can do a good chunk of damage to a bench Pokemon. What did you think of the list? Let me know if you would change it, if you would play this, and if you do end up playing this, let me know how it went, and I will see you in the next video.